Hoi there everyone, this is FatesFanboy speaking, and today we are back with what is probably going to be the final part of our OC tier list, at least for the time being. Because with Book 5 fresh on our minds still, we are going to take a look at the OCs that Book 5 introduced, as well as some wildcards, I guess. And we're going to be placing them in our tier list that we already had. And of course, we are joined here by the same guest as last time, minus Rawr for the time being. I don't know if he's going to join in at some point. But we have Interesting, Serene, and Yearlinger. Welcome, guys.
Subscribe to
Thank you.
Self-promotion in literally the first minute. Wow.
You don't have to worry about self-promotion when you don't have a YouTube channel.
Without dancing around it for too long, I guess we should just start with the first character. So I guess... we unanimously decided to actually rate Fehnix and the Summoner, who somehow popped up on this tier list.
For whatever reason.
For whatever reason. So I guess we'll just start with Fei. Anyone have some really profound opinions on Fei?
Fei is the true neutral.
If you somehow have a profound opinion on Fei, you need to go to college and write an essay about it.
Why?
For what reason?
Yes.
Because Fei isn't really much of a character. She
Fae
really
is
just exists to deliver news and give you orbs.
Yes.
That's true.
I get that, but I also really like Fei because of her cute voice and the fact that she's just so cheery and all that.
I like Fei because she's bad at heroes, and the game makes fun of her, like that she's bad, and she likes Xander. She's bad at heroes, and she's like nice, I guess, and that's her personality.
Yeah, I like that.
Enough. So
you know what actually has more personality than some other Fei OCs? It's actually crazy.
Yes.
Wow.
It's really insane how that happens.
So honestly, if I'm being honest, I'd probably put Fei in C tier.
I would put her in C, honestly.
What would you expect from the voice of Sothis?
Or she wasn't voiced by Sothis, she was voiced by somebody else who I don't know the name of.
Yeah, she was voiced by someone else who,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what her name
was. Why did they replace her again?
It's because of a change in, base of operations for where the videos are made.
Her old voice actress was not able to keep up with the location that they were going to be doing stuff from. So,
that's always unfortunate.
I see. That is very unfortunate.
The true neutral Fei into C tier. Do we want to place her above anyone else?
I
mean, honestly, I think she's kind of better than Reed.
I would actually agree.
No.
Unironically.
No.
I would agree unironically.
When Rawr gets here and sees you placed Fei above Hell, he's gonna have a miniature heart attack.
Hell is going to break loose. It's true.
Also, Fates, no, this is not okay.
Okay, pitch to us why we should place her underneath Reed.
Because Reed has more of a character.
Oh, really?
What is Reed's character?
Okay, look, the thing about Reed is, you know that joke of either just become irrelevant or become evil?
Mm-hmm.
Reed became irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yep. Unfortunate, I don't really think so, honestly.
Fine, I guess Fei is slightly better than Reed. I'll just have to die knowing this.
Let's go,
Okay,
she said
that sounds good. Hoggers.
Let's move on before she changes her mind.
I'm only doing this because I know I'm not going to win against you guys. It's 4 against 1.
I mean, if you bring a convincing argument.
Freya is where she is now, thanks to me.
Look,
she would be lower otherwise.
I'm bad at giving... I don't have a major reason. I just really like Reed because he's hot and cool, and I like him.
Yes, but let's not conflate that with him being... You said that he's actually a pretty deep and interesting character.
He's endearing. I think he's endearing.
Well, that's one thing, which you're free to have that opinion. But I don't think he's a particularly deep character. That's all.
I know he's not deep. He hasn't had much screen time. He's been relegated to the bench. It's sad.
Yes.
Yep. Pretty much.
For him.
Unlike Fei, who is still relevant.
I'm gonna cry.
Don't, because we still have more characters to go. Fehnix literally appeared 3 times and then just dipped.
Honestly, I think the most interesting thing about Fehnix is that he is the only case of real life writing the plot.
What?
Yes, because he was not originally going to be a thing,
Mm-hmm.
but in Japanese, the voice actress for Faye was on maternity leave, and so they got Fehnix to do a Faye channel, and then they brought that over into English, and they did Fehnix in English too, and then they just chose Patrick Seitz to do him, which was very fun. I actually like Fehnix a lot. Like I don't think he's like I don't think he's like he's kind of a Creed situation where he's not deep at all, but I find him a very endearing character. Like if you saw the Summoner Duels thing, he was just like chatting with Matthew, making these like stupid puns. He's just kind of like a goofball, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Fehnix is adorable, and I love the mustache.
And he's actually kind of good at the game, unlike Faye. Like he's kind of good.
I mean, there has to be someone to offset Faye.
If I'm being honest, he'd probably be in another C tier, probably low C, maybe mid C.
I would put him like right above Faye, honestly, but that's
like isn't he just kind of Faye but better at the game and funnier?
Yeah,
and voiced by Patrick Seitz also.
Yeah. He sounds like Hector snorted helium. Yeah,
that's probably an accurate description. Yeah. All right.
Sure.
So above Faye, I guess.
I would say right
at the top of C tier.
Top of C, yeah. Although if I were personally writing this character list, like I'd put Fehnix high up for the memes, but
right. I mean, fair enough.
Wait, are we gonna bump Fehnix up to the bottom of B tier?
Oh boy, are we going to do it?
Are we really?
That would be funny.
Are we gonna say that Fehnix is better than Alphonse?
No, let's not push it too far.
I actually think Fehnix is funnier and more likable than Alphonse, but that's
now we're pushing it a bit. I feel
it's neither here nor there. No, I don't think. I mean, I don't hate Alphonse. I don't think he's the most likable guy out there. That's all. But
at least he has character development. It's something.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
Anyway.
Fehnix's character development is restricted to how funny his voice can get. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I adore them.
We're moving on to the most meme-worthy character of the bunch, the Summoner.
It is him! He lives!
The Baziado man, the base man.
See, but the thing about the Summoner is, any self-respecting person would not place the Summoner lower than S, because it's just themselves.
They probably also put them in F tier because they hate themselves or something. I don't know.
So why don't we average it out?
The Summoner. That's the
why
thing.
Why don't we average it out and put them like literally in the exact middle if we can find it?
That would be between Surtur and Henriette.
Yeah,
I guess that works.
I
mean,
why
really,
no?
What can you say about the Summoner that hasn't already been said? They're meme-worthy. They exist.
I mean, for one, I really, really love the design of the Summoner, and I know it's not much, but I think for like a non-playable character that only appears a fraction of the time, they have a really solid design. I mean, he's also like canonically the only person in the Fae universe to wield a gun, so.
Yeah. I think actually, you know what's funny? When I tapped on Ephraim on my home screen, he said something about like, I would love to face off against somebody in your world with that weapon, and I was like, Ephraim versus gun, who would win? And my friend said, and they said gun, and I was like, well, I guess Ephraim dies.
Too bad, Ephraim. You picked a losing fight.
I don't he doesn't pick any that he can't win, though. That's not fair.
Yeah,
he just doesn't know. He doesn't know. And no sabe.
You have to remember, the Summoner isn't just a regular player self-insert. The Summoner is literally you. You, the person playing the game. They were designed to be a nobody, so you could self-insert into them. The closest we get to the Summoner being their own character is from the fucking day in a life of Heroes, where they have to be their own character.
True.
Yeah, that's most of it. Where the Summoner's kind of just goofy and a little bit like trying to make friends with heroes and like
sometimes ironically bad at strategy. Yeah, it just gives a new perspective to a character that's mostly a blank slate and designed to be a blank slate. As funny as it would be to place him like exactly in the middle, I don't know if that's fair.
So what should we do then? Put him in F tier or something?
Well, I'll still rally for C tier because I think that's probably the fairest we can do, since that's like the average.
if we're talking about the Summoner as portrayed in A Day in the Life of Heroes, just for the sheer funniness of it all, I think that the Summoner should go in B tier.
Yeah, maybe.
F tier because the Summoner could be British.
Yeah, that's true. The Summoner could be of a terrible nationality or an unbased person.
Could be a serial killer for all we know.
Yeah, he may be Romanian and steal all the orbs.
Oh my fucking god, not the Romanians again. Anyway, I think we should push the button here and finally decide on a placement.
Yeah.
So personally,
I think we should go in C.
Like for the limited things we can rate the Summoner on, I would personally rally for him to be like high C tier because I really like his design.
I can see that.
I'd probably put him between Surtur and Henriette, like Interesting was saying earlier.
Just to be exact middle.
We could put him above Creed to spite Miss Serene.
If we do that one more time throughout this list, I'm going to get the soldering iron.
I can predict it's going to happen a few more
Put
times.
the Summoner above Creed, then.
No!
You have sealed your fate, Serene.
No.
Put the Summoner above Ninja.
We did it.
There we go.
Yeah, so let's finally move on to actual Book 5 OC, starting with Reginn. So we did go over her before, but the thing is, what did we really take into consideration when ranking her before? Her design? Her appearance in like the first 2 chapters?
Yeah,
when we did the tier list back then, at the time, we were up to chapter 5 of book 5.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like the least important part of the story.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think Reginn has proven herself to be pretty lame, honestly.
That's a bit of an hot take.
Is that a hot take? I don't think Reginn is universally loved or anything.
Well, I don't know either, but in any case, elaborate, please.
I didn't think that she did anything particularly unique in the story. She was, again, a princess fighting to save the kingdom, and, she said, oh, I feel so conflicted about stopping my brothers. Oh no, my brothers are actually kind of fucked up. They're evil. And then she's like, oh, okay, people died, so now I gotta actually stop my brothers. Rawr, you die. And then okay, I win the end. It feels very much an uninspired, sort of more cheerful Fjorm with and we all know where Fjorm is in this tier list. And
yes.
And it's just, I think Reginn is no more inspired than Fjorm is, really. I mean, design-wise, I think she's got some nice qualities going for her.
Qualities? But, wink, wink.
Well, yeah. I actually didn't mean it like that, because Reginn is not a particularly, curvy or insanely enticing figure,
yes.
at least to many people, myself included.
But yes, that aside, I do agree with you on that part, that actually her design, I think her design is one of the better ones for the free OCs we've gotten, at least.
Yeah, I mean, she's cute. I will agree, and I think her design overall is cute, and I like the potential it had. I think her voice fits. I think her design is cool, but beyond that, when it gets down to her actual character, I find that it falls short.
Because what really is her character? That's the point. It's like a mixture. It's kind of like Serene, but on steroids.
It's like Serene and Fjorm combined, kind of. The Serena's cheerfulness with Fjorm's I'm a princess and I have to win, and
I'm conflicted about my brothers.
Yeah, right. And it doesn't have it doesn't work itself into a particularly interesting combination. Is what I mean to say. Even Fjorm had a little bit of something going with she had a revenge arc sort of thing, because she was actually wronged, Surtur kind of murdered or tried to murder a lot of people. So she actually had a little bit of that going for it. It wasn't explored as much as I think it should have been, but regardless, I think Reginn just didn't live up to the hype of a new book OC. So,
I mean, considering she was kind of hyped up to be something bigger than she actually is in the end.
Yeah, a bit of a letdown in my opinion.
I see where you're coming from.
Predictable letdown.
Predictable? How so?
Just the prediction of the big reveal that, oh yes, Reginn is the true heir to the throne and royalty.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the twist was not really a twist, The
twist was very expectable,
I was so willing to, at first, try to give Book 5 the benefit of the doubt, because I love the setting. But as it went on, it just became more and more clear that they weren't really trying that hard with the story.
I don't really hate her. She's fine. I'd probably put her above D and maybe like below C, but that's about it.
That's
above D and below
conflicting.
C. So where would that be?
C.5.
I meant to say that she would be either top of D, bottom of C.
All right, there we go. Sure.
As for me, it's like in my head, like the main thing that holds Reginn back is just the fact that she cries a little too much.
Yeah.
Well, she also has the unfortunate gimmick of crying. Yeah. Crying is not a gimmick that I find enticing. Endearing at all. Yeah.
Have to agree
doesn't
on that
help
one.
That it's it doesn't help that because of that it kind of robbed some of the emotional weight of chapter 12 when Reginn actually does put down Fáfnir.
Yeah,
and it's not like wow she's at her limit because she finally did what she had to do, but she still can't move past it and all that. It's more like, oh look, it's the waterworks girl, her.
Yeah.
If I had to place Reginn somewhere on this list, it'd be at least below Thor.
Yeah, if I had to, I didn't say where I'd place Reginn. I'd place her in like mid-high D tier or something like that.
Alright, so rounding all that up, I guess I hear interesting D tier, Year also D tier below Thor, and Serene is also saying top of D, bottom C. I wanted to also give her the benefit of the doubt, especially because of her design. I really liked her design at first glance. And I thought her crying expression was cute, but to an extent. Not to the extent that you need to implement it like literally every chapter.
Yeah, I can see that. It'd be one thing if she cried like a few times, but yeah.
And the twist, it was predictable, so that kind of put a damper on the gravity of everything, I suppose. I was going to say myself, I think I'm probably leaning towards like high mid C tier still, because I do still find some affection for her design.
Okay, so in the end, that would average out to either like bottom of C or top of D.
Reginn in D tier for donkey.
Yeah, that's what it's shaping up to be, I think.
The mechanical donkey.
I guess we should just place her there, definitively.
Okay. What's up, guys? I'm Otermaster1, and welcome to another Fire Emblem Heroes video.
The one and only Oter. Oh boy. I have some things to say about Oter, but I'll let you guys take this stage first. God. Anyone?
Well, regarding Oter, if Triandra is ever so slightly underrated, then I would consider Oter criminally underrated.
Oh?
Yeah.
Actually?
Oh, really?
Probably.
Especially as indicated by the fact that his Mythic debut was the worst performance for any Mythic hero to date.
I wonder why that is.
Curious.
Because not many people actually like his character, and I kind of consider that a bit of a shame, because when you break it down, it's like, initially it just looks like Oter is a jerk, and also a simp.
Well, yeah, he's more of a jerk than a simp, but yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's like, when it was revealed his backstory and how everything came to be, it created this bizarre, almost like juxtaposition of, okay, yes, he hates Reginn and hates the fact that he exists, but simultaneously, he's the reason she is alive.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't think, but him being the reason she's alive because of what he did as a kid, I don't think that turns him into an instantly, like, a fantastic character. I think that it's he explains some of his backstory, which, okay, at least we get that, but
exposition dump.
Yeah, we get some exposition dump when he's like kind of close to dying. But I don't know. I don't think he's like absolutely like, oh my god, he's devoid of anything like some people say. But I'm inclined to think that he's not a very good character because he's a villain who's like, I will do everything for my brother. I don't like you guys. I'm gonna give you little hints and not tell you like why I'm doing what I'm doing, but I'm gonna drop hints conveniently.
Yeah.
And it just strikes me as a villain the writers threw in there to not exactly appeal to people, but just to be a vessel for the story to move forward because he's doing evil shit. That's my opinion. I don't like him that much. I mean, I don't absolutely hate him. Like I actually think his unit concept, like he's a good unit, not the most creative unit, but a good unit, like in Eitri defense, for example.
Yeah.
But
that is uncontested.
Yeah, I know he's good. He's not popular, but he's good. But yeah, I mean, he's just a below average guy. I think that wasn't handled as well as he could have been. That's just my opinion. No hate towards him, but I don't like him.
Yeah, and that's I guess where I tie in, because like Reginn, I also wanted to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Sure, he looked like extremely edgy just from his design, but you never know how Faye's story is going to play out, right? He could be an excellent character. Well, probably not, because it's the Faye story, but still.
Yeah, right, but the potential was still technically there.
The potential was there, and then, what chapter was it? 10, 11 rolls around, and he's just kind of revealed to be a yandere, which
pretty much,
was really underwhelming for some reason. That's like...
Yeah, and that's what it had kind of been building up to, but it never entirely said that was his only goal, and then it was revealed that was like just completely what he was after.
Yeah, then it just suddenly manifests in this way that it's just...
Like, the yandere reveal was actually, like, in terms of how early it was actually at least hinted at or flat out shown, that would go to the Book 5 midpoint trailer, where he see him admiring the abomination that Fáfnir has become.
But that's also one thing, right? Because he admires the abomination that Fáfnir becomes. But then at the same time, he, like, devotedly admires Fáfnir, so why would he wish any harm upon him? That just feels so contradictory.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd paradox, yeah. Curious, Odor.
And
Can you explain this?
Yeah, and he just doesn't allow Fáfnir to see his real family again when he regains his memories. And from a yandere standpoint, I guess that's fair play, but it doesn't serve to make his character any better whatsoever. It just makes him less likable.
Seem very selfish, and just not a good brother figure to this guy who was originally pretty decent and respectable, and see him turn into a monster and be like, oh yeah, that's pretty poggers, man. Like my brother's kind of like fucking shit up now. That's not too bad. I'm pretty happy about that.
I'm pretty happy with this result. Yeah, definitely. No, but in summary, while hate is like a strong word, I would say I hate this guy purely because of how they developed him to be this relentless yandere who can't even let the person he obsesses over be happy.
I definitely dislike him. I don't hate him, but I'm leaning the dislike camp. I would put him in like mid-low D tier. That's my personal opinion.
Mid-low D tier.
So what about you, Serene?
I'd probably put him mid-C. I like him.
You like him?
Maybe even low D. I mean low B.
Why would you say this?
I don't know. Just him being edgy and odd and different. I don't know, something about him.
Quirky and relatable, perhaps?
This is like a Creed syndrome, where it's not that you like the character.
I mean, his character is interesting. He's kind of scummy. Yeah, him just obsessing over Fáfnir is interesting, I guess.
Serene, respectfully, you're starting to sound a bit like Nótt here.
that also reminds me of like someone who likes Starja and says, "Oh, Starja obsesses over Robin." That's kind of cool, interesting.
Let's just forget the fact that Odor is also a manipulator himself.
True.
Oh boy, manipulation is
the
great.
cycle of manipulation. Anyways, I would put Odor at the bottom of B tier.
Also, okay.
So we're gonna, and Rawr's probably gonna rate him either D or F tier.
Rawr said that Odor is based because he's a shit unit, brought nothing.
Yeah.
S
tier? I'm this guy. I swear.
He's Fehnix Master.
So all things considered...
So it's B, D for interesting. And I would personally also put him at like, not E tier, because E tier is characters with like just no personality.
F tier, yeah.
So I put him in like bottom of the barrel D tier, so the very bottom.
Oh, that actually is E tier, that's right. But yeah, so I guess average it out, and
that would be like C tier-ish.
Like low C to high D, right?
Somewhere like the lower half of C tier at best.
At the very best, like I think he'd be like below Triandra or something.
I personally wouldn't put him above Triandra.
Well, yeah,
Perhaps
no, I
above
meant to
PME,
the
but-
right of Chandra. That's what I meant.
Okay, so I just let go of my cursor, but is this the placement we want to go to, the final placement?
I think that works.
I think it
I'm
works.
fine with it.
Fine
Hold
with it?
on. Yeah, sure, I guess.
And we're moving on to the big bad boss, Fáfnir.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Also known as Mr. No Eyebrows.
Yes. Fáfnir has.
I'm waiting for him to get into the game so I can summon for him, damn it.
Yeah. Fáfnir has funny faces.
Yes.
His possessed face is very evil. He likes killing people and mentioning how he'll kill them, and
yes.
going my head hurts.
Mhm.
As
I
is typical of a possessed
his
villain.
mechanical dragon form is really cool.
It's a fun design, yeah.
Of course you like the dragon. Props to Fáfnir's dragon design, though. It is beyond horrifying. Like, apparently, all the red dots lining his body, all of them are eyes.
That's kind of what I figured,
Yes,
yeah.
which is unsettling for sure. It's got design points.
Like,
His head
yes,
is
his dragon design does look cool, but at the same time it really heavily reminds me of a divine beast. Which I'm not sure is
reminds-
good yet.
Yeah,
divine
well, it reminds
beast
me a lot of
what?
Garen's dragon form, like the birthright Garen dragon form.
Oh,
with the
yeah.
red. Well, the red part for Garen is the.
Is his-
It's
yeah.
like his soul is inside of the dragon form. Yeah.
Start with getting probably the one main thing that's bogging Fáfnir down a little bit, and it's the moment when he finally gets his hands on Henriette, and it looks like Alphonse and Serene are about to become orphans. And what stops him? Random, plot convenient headache.
True.
Oh yes.
That's
it was
definitely
the
jarring, yeah.
Og thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm glad that they didn't lose their mother, but still kind of dumb.
It was a silly. It was a Maeda moment or Maeda writer moment.
Like, yeah,
in case you don't know,
that just
Maeda's
feels
the
like they
writer.
didn't know what else to do, right? Because he's finally within like a stone's throw of his goal, but he can't reach his goal yet because the book isn't over. So what do? Headache.
Oh, it's the headache.
And it's a
man.
shame too, because that also could have been a really good moment for Henriette to more, again, hint at that insane power she has.
Which we still haven't seen anything of.
Anyways, back onto Fáfnir, because
maybe with this new book they'll actually have her do something. I don't know.
Well, it's looking
Well,
like it.
and considering it's Asker and Embla, but
Yes.
if this were the time to do it,
But
Yeah.
Fáfnir.
if this, but about him, I don't know. I think he's okay. Like I wanted to like him in the beginning because of his design, and he seemed like he could be one of those likable villains in the sense like so absurdly evil that it's kind of like you kind of like them. But his constant headaches kind of got in the way of that. Like it doesn't feel like he's exactly in control of himself most of the time, and that just
Mhm.
that doesn't feel great. Like as a character you want to like. So he was kind of in the middle for me. He had potential, but I think again, kind of like Reginn, it was squandered. Suffice
They
to
actually had
say,
good writing in the first place.
yeah, if they actually had good writing, well, yeah, that would help. But they could have,
yes.
even with the limited writing that Faye has, they could have at least taken it in a different direction, not where he just became
I
possessed.
mean,
and
like,
taken
do those
ties.
writers expect people like to be dumb, stupid? Like, how does someone
Yes.
write some fake characters and like think that's okay?
People
Well-
are stupid, and they know people will buy the characters even if they write them like dog shit. So
But it's also, I think what's also important to think about is that Faye really doesn't allow much space for very, very intricate characters, so it kind of needs to get to the point with their
It
personality.
allows space. It can allow space. It's just shitty writing.
I agree that they could have done better with if they just made
Actually,
things
make
a little
Fáfnir like Mikali. Just make Mikali 2.0. That's it.
I
You
mean,
write a good character.
like a Michaela's sort of. Yeah, if they'd made Fáfnir more like he was seizing power in order to like save his kingdom or something, or to
Not even save his kingdom, just unite all the kingdoms and then
or to
like
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
technology.
That's more what I mean. Yeah, Michaela's goal was to basically unite the kingdoms under one sort of power.
Well, but technically
Which
that's also what
Fáfnir-
Fáfnir was doing, right? But he wasn't doing it for the same ideal, for the same objective. He was just doing it to
He
He was
feel
doing
good.
it because
doing it
stealing
for-
dragon. Instead
Yeah.
of stealing dragon,
he did it
headache.
for very similar reasons to like Garen, in that he was
Yeah.
just possessed and he has to do it for whatever reason.
Exactly.
Like, we get nothing about the fucking mechanic kingdom.
Right. You could have taken it one of two ways. You could have taken it this sort of Leon route, which is like the kind of encroaching possession, which is it can actually be done pretty well, and then or you could have taken it the Michaelis route, which is like more of a just like an idealist route, and both could have worked. But Faye decided to make this weird downward spiral where he just
We can't afford to dilly-dally with other stuff too much, especially when Fáfnir's situation is literally just, he's wearing the crown of the beggar, but he's not royalty, so it's driving him insane. He's already been on that downward spiral. We see him become a warmonger.
And we never really see, except at the very, very end.
He becomes Aaron Dragon.
Yeah,
Then he becomes lucid and he tries to find his way out, but Eitri's like, lol, no.
And then he kind of dies.
He's basically dead at that point. It's kind of Reginn, in a sense, is like, lol, no. So.
But, I mean, a little extra props to that we actually get to sympathize for Fáfnir just long enough to where the forced transformation actually has an effect.
I'd probably put Fáfnir in A or B tier.
I mean, Fáfnir as a meme, he's like A tier, one of the best fucking memes. He's
pretty good as a meme.
And then
I really want him to be a playable character, you know, for us.
He will be at some point, I believe.
Gustav still hasn't gotten normal version.
Gustav
is a bit different. Gustav was an allied character who got killed off and then turned into a servant. So
I mean, but we still haven't gotten his normal version.
Either way, I still stand by that. I would put him in at least B and maybe A.
Noted. Interesting.
Okay. I would put him in low C.
Clear? Year?
Towards the top of B tier, underneath Leg Yarn.
Yeah.
Where would you put him, Fates?
I would put Fáfnir with some respect for, I guess, his final moments, where he actually is like sane again, remembers his former life with his family.
Oh shoot, that! They tease that he's finally going to reveal what his real name is, and then it never happened!
Yes.
He's just like, my name is,
and
everyone won't shut up, so Fáfnir dies without revealing his real name. Okay, yeah, that bumps Fáfnir down to below air.
Oh, it bumps him down.
I think that's a writer moment, but I guess all of this is technically a writer moment, so...
that was building up to my ranking, and my ranking would probably be like, I guess, mid to high C tier is my final ranking.
So we average those out, and I guess he goes in like high C,
in my opinion.
like top of C, bottom of B.
I mean, we do... Rawr, do we factor in... If you give like a reasonable rating, we'll factor it in. So, go ahead.
I mean, I haven't read like half of book 5. I didn't keep up on heroes, basically.
Good start.
He's funny-based man that kills women and has a lot of funny faces.
Oh boy.
He's kind of tier. He's A tier.
He's
just
A
for the
tier.
memes.
Okay, so we'll just put him at bottom of B and call it even.
Yeah, I think that works. That works.
Any
Actually,
preference above, below Alphonse?
Can we agree that he's kind of better than Alphonse, though?
I can say
it.
he's above Alphonse, but only above Alphonse.
Only above Alphonse. I think we can agree on that.
I think I would be fine with that.
Feel either way.
Oh boy.
Look at that, their portraits kind of match with each other.
Moving on to the Jotunheimer sisters.
Yeah, I like one more than the other, but Yuri won't
I wonder which one it is.
Well, I mean, are we actually going to start with Dagr, or are we going to start with Nótt?
Rawr's really adamant to move on to Dagr, so why don't we take Dagr first and let Rawr take the stage?
Yes, let's do that.
Watch
Funny
this,
Portuguese
just see
man.
him saying abs over and over.
By all means, Rawr, go ahead. Of course.
Okay, there we go. He didn't say it over and over again.
But he only said it once, to be fair.
Hooray!
Abs.
There we go.
Fighters and base.
Okay.
What's up,
So
guys?
she's probably
Only shift and base.
like
Surprise visitor, Donlot.
Right.
Oh, what?
Hello.
yes.
Donlot, what are
Just
you doing
mentioned
here?
abs and Donald is here.
I don't know. I saw you guys were here. Wait, you're recording?
Yes.
Yes, you just waddled in on a recording.
You don't know anything
You
about
don't.
heroes, so I think at least you don't know anything about heroes.
No, just show
I-
Donald the image of Dagr.
I know nothing about heroes. I do know Dagr though.
Oh, well, if you know a little about Dagr, would you like to give a special guest opinion about her?
Yes, please.
I like her design. She's okay.
All right.
Okay, well, that's very
concise, clear and
respectable,
concise.
That's pretty much all I can say about her.
I like it.
She's got a good design.
I like that. You are the counterpart to Rawr's chaotic energy of just. She based axe infantry.
Well, axes are cool as well.
She just waddles up and gives you a big noogie, and I love those kind of like dork characters, like Serena's peppiness, but leagues better.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I find Dagr actually pretty entertaining. Like her castle quotes as well are actually surprisingly kind of interesting. Like she actually wants to learn about things. She likes learning about people. She likes talking. I don't know. She's actually like I actually am surprised to say that I find her a pretty endearing character.
Yeah.
And she's a good unit too. I mean, she's just
hate her.
fun. I mean, I would put her if because we're doing it on Heroes OC. If I did it like in Fire Emblem characters, like she'd be just like maybe like a little above average for me. But because it's Heroes, I would put Dagr legitimately in like mid A tier. So like,
I
love Dagr
can
quite.
100% agree with an A tier placement for Dagr.
Why?
S tier for abs. If you take out the A and B in abs, you get S.
Really?
I mean, it certainly also helps that Dagr also knows when to get serious and how she's surprisingly able to move on from note to death.
She knows how to get serious in FE12.
Yeah.
Serious
Oh,
joins in
boy.
chapter 4
Yes,
automatically.
serious joins. You have to talk to him
You
with
talk to
Agma
him.
though. Yeah.
Surprisingly, Dagr is a vastly more, well, diverse character than I initially thought. Because at first she just seemed to be like this careless princess, I guess, if you could even call it that.
Well, it was funny too because she basically like teased Alphonse into being completely silent, which was
Yes.
amusing to say the least. Because
Dagr flirts with him.
actually, there were very few actually funny moments in the story, but the character flirting is so rare in Fae that I thought it was amusing.
I just want to say something, guys. So I
Yes.
looked at the design again, and I don't really like the outfit as much as I remember liking it. So I would put her down a notch, and that's pretty much all I want to do here. I'm gonna leave now.
Okay.
Because...
Donald, I'm
Thank
going
you
to
very much
cancel
for your
you.
input,
I
Donald.
appreciate
Except
it.
cancel Donald.
Yeah,
Everyone
have fun,
knows
guys.
that
Thank you.
Donald speaking.
Thank you, thank you.
Cancel Donald.
So, let's put her somewhere.
I would say, I guess, average it out. Yeah, Rawr put her in S, and this time I can actually see Rawr like making an argument for S, so it's not completely a meme.
I'm sorry, am I mistaken, Fates, in where you wanted to place Dagr?
I never
Where did-
actually
yeah, where did you
outed
want
my
to put it?
opinion explicitly.
Yeah,
I think taking into account her multifaceted personality, which is really refreshing for a hero's character, I'd probably have to lean towards high B or low A as well. Just purely the fact that she's so diverse and entertaining, I think that merits an A tier or a high B tier at least.
so that averages out to probably be like above Gustav, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Perhaps.
Yeah, considering Serene here is the outlier.
Yes, pretty much.
I'm not saying she's bad. All I'm saying is that I don't mind if she gets put above
Either.
Gustav. I'm okay with that. Sure, I don't care.
At this point, I think like you putting Dagr in low B, high C is the only reason she's like not one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, well, she still is here.
Yeah.
She's number 4.
I mean, like yeah, still, she's not in the top 3. Congratulations, Serene. You prevented Dagr from going above Freya.
Why would I want that?
Wow.
I don't want her to go above Freya. That's
Why
a good
would you
thing.
want that year?
Okay.
Surely that's
Yeah,
not something you
I
want.
You can do
you.
that.
Surely not.
That's heresy. What are you talking about?
I'm not saying that I
Crying-
specifically
crying
believe
is
that
base.
Dagr is better than
Crying.
Freya. Y'all know damn well where Freya would be in my list. I'm just
Yep.
saying,
They would be
in terms of the
F-
general opinion, aside from you as the outlier, Dagr
You know
should
what?
be above Freya.
Okay,
Fine,
so
stop
now
it.
Yes.
Put her above Freya. I don't
Democracy
care.
wins.
No, we're leaving her
we
here.
come
We're leaving me
to-
here.
Now it is time for Note. Who
Yes,
I
talking
also,
about surely not. Let's go for Nótt.
Surely.
E tier. She's shit.
We all know
I
your
like-
opinion, yes. You're very
I
pronounced.
She's not Dagr, therefore kind of.
When she died, I was so happy. It was the best
Yeah,
moment
then-
in the hero
then
story.
Dagr
Like
wouldn't
S tier moment. Like amazing writing, just killing off Nótt. Base.
S tier moment, which means she is S tier. Yeah.
But
that's
I,
it.
Oh
I
god,
feel,
no.
But I have a sneaking
Oh, no.
suspicion that Year has a very conflicting view regarding that moment.
In here.
Yes, but does anyone care about his opinion?
Which moment are we talking about here?
Nótt
Well,
dying.
she dies, I think, correct?
Oh yes. So first of all, I
She does a
fucking
Roblox
hate the
too.
fact that I was right.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I remember that.
I remember your prediction.
Like,
yes,
I was right. Yes.
At first, I just kind of made the prediction because, like, well, how else is Dagr going to cry? And I thought that's just going to be it.
Mhm.
And then that stupid filler chapter happened, focusing kind of on Nótt and how she's trying to live up to the promise of making up for what she's done in her life, not with it. And then she starts getting attracted to the summoner. The summoner is you. Oh
As
no.
she would. Yes.
I have only ever seen this raw power once before.
Oh no.
Well, it was.
And I look back at that prediction I made and started to regret my life's decisions.
I think that it was a very brief moment where she was like, now that I look at you, and then she was like, I mustn't do that. And then I think that's the only time that was ever mentioned.
That also happened at a low point in the story in terms of writing quality, but still,
Yes.
Nótt is one of the 2, maybe 3 characters here that managed to leave a noticeable personal impact on me.
Leaving a noticeable impact. Yes.
All I'm gonna say is that I like Nótt, and I would put her in B or A. That's all I'm gonna
That is
say.
an extremely detailed opinion. I'm glad we could do this.
Similar to her sister, then. That's fair.
Amazing
That's fair.
opinion.
I mean, I
Honesty
really
opinion.
like. I really like. No, I don't know why. I just really like her. She's hot. She's cool.
Yeah, well, I think in terms of her personality, I would say that I find her a little like I like her archetype of kind of the mature sort of lady in the group more than Dagr's kind of like happy-go-lucky archetype. But I will say that Dagr left a little bit more of an impression in terms of like having a little bit more developed of a personality, or at least to me. So that kind of evened it out, the competition between them for me. But I also think that Nótt was, it was interesting to see her kind of turn from this, obsessed simp of a girl to like wanting to genuinely like help out and be nice. And the one sticking point being like still antagonistic towards her sister, but otherwise like willing to help out and
take
help out.
responsibility.
Well, I mean,
take responsibility, which is nice.
It's kind of, I mean, from her point of view, it's like, it's almost like she has to almost take that sort of position because, does anyone remember the big fat video they made between Nótt and Dagr having to do with who will become the Queen of Jotunheimer?
Yeah, the big duel.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
that's about the best we get of Nótt being the responsible to Dagr's foolish.
Yes, and I think that I really like Nótt's design, and I like her voice at first seemed a little odd to me, like a little too feminine for me. But then I realized it was growing on me, and of course I have that slight attachment.
Isn't she voiced the same person who does On from Persona?
Say yes. That was literally my next sentence. That she was voiced by On from Persona, who I've heard so many lines from, and so that gives me a little bit of like comforting.
I mean, I like
a voice actor who I've seen who I've heard so many times. So that's a little bit of bias there, and I've seen some of her Twitch streams too, and she's a very nice person. So that I'm a little biased in that regard too.
I like
know it's a good unit, so I'm a little biased in some ways more so than with Dagr, but I would put Nótt in like at the very least high B tier, and at worst and for if I had to go, probably like bottom of A tier for me, I'd say.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think Nótt should go at the top of B tier.
Same here.
That's also fair.
I think I should, as an ending note, I should probably voice my opinion.
You should kill her. Now.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Ending Nótt.
Oh boy, there we go again. But I think as far as
Not
my opinion on her is concerned, I think I expressed this pretty much when we originally recorded this. And I was saying like, okay, so she was portrayed as this serious, graceful, serene kind of ruler. And then, like, around the halfway point of the book, she turns out to be this flirtatious, kind of reckless, almost character, and that kind of turned me off. But then the latter half of the book actually kind of restores that. Yes, she does. She does throw herself into an enemy's attack to save her sister, which ties in with her actually restoring some of that responsibility she was ought to have from her introduction. In that regard, I think the writers, actually unironically, kind of salvaged her character for me. So I would be pretty much on par with you guys, making her like high mid B tier-ish. and that's my 2 cents.
Okay, I'm going to be serious. Not
Okay.
serious from everything, but like serious as the adjective. And ironically, killing her off is a good thing because not many characters actually die that aren't actually the villains.
True.
Like
That's
Fox, like
I can understand that. It's not the worst thing. It's characters. I think characters should die if there is a legitimate reason for them to die. I don't think. Like I think it was very
even
random
if there's no reason for them to die.
I think it was random when she
It's
died.
realistic.
I don't think the reason why she died was actually that bad. It's just it happened very suddenly. But
Yes.
the actual
like if
reason
your neighbor
wasn't that
dies,
bad.
if your neighbor suddenly has a heart attack and dies, was it for a reason? No, it doesn't mean it's bad writing.
But like real life isn't really scripted, you know.
No, I
But-
would put it at her at D tier or C tier.
Okay.
I mean, she gets
Okay.
fucked by
That's fair.
Phoenix
So that
Master.
actually kind of evens it out
That's
to, well, B tier, but
So,
where in
I mean,
B tier
Yeah,
is your
She's
yeah,
realistic.
like
She's a realistic woman. She
Yes.
gets fucking ripped off by Fehnix Master. There's like 3 rips off people in their fit and play guides.
okay. So
Okay.
high B, I guess. Like, I guess she'd be.
Yeah,
like,
I gave my stance. I said
the
the top of B tier, but
You did, yes. But right here, I guess I'm just hovering over it here. This is not a definitive placement. If anyone has any objections, please
Yeah.
just jump in.
Yeah, that works.
It works, I'd say.
Because I personally don't think she's better than Legiarn.
honestly, the more characters we add to this list, the more and more Bruno's placement becomes kind of iffy on my end.
Yeah, a little.
Whoops. I may or may not have had a hand in that. But alright.
Well,
Yeah,
Note is
fair
going
enough, but
there.
still. Note can go there.
Okay, now, oh boy. It's
We
time
just-
for eight.
Where the fun begins.
And just going to preface this, I think I'm going to sound like a broken record, but just out of the knowledge that Year is so into this character, I want to give him the stage first.
Actually, more so.
Okay, unlike with Freya, where my opinion's saved for last, I'm gonna kick everything off here.
Yeah, so we can
Oh,
place it into
boy.
context
Lollipop,
later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Please.
because my opinion on Eitri, like, it have done, what is it, like a fucking 540? So when Eitri was first introduced, when we're making the tier list, this was before the reveal had been made that she was the true antagonist.
Yes.
So she was
She was
the
the
only
imposter.
character who we literally forgot about. She was that bad. I think I said, like, at the time, she might be worse than Mirabilis.
I do remember you saying that, yes.
Yeah.
And then the reveal is made that she is the true antagonist, and that she's bonkers, like a borderline sociopath.
I
And
kind of like
as the story
Kind of a
progressed, and what Eitri does just gets worse and worse, I just became more and more interested in her, especially considering the whole force science thing that she has going for her. She was shaping up to be a thirder kind of enjoyable villain, where she's
Like, so
just
she's
that
Dr. Halsey.
irreprehensible.
Just very, very evil.
And I was just eating it up.
nice.
Okay, so then we get to chapter 13, and that's where shit goes off the rails.
Well, they
Because
just suddenly create that narrative. Yeah.
You suddenly just get smacked in the face with all this exposition about...
Because all of a sudden, everything about Eitri gets revealed in the span of one chapter, and the writers try to play her death sympathetically, really hampered my opinion of Eitri. Like, it just went almost down the drain. Like, she would be in D tier, but then, the fucking ending cinematic gets revealed. Yeah, I know a lot of people are of the stance of, oh, it was 3 minutes of boring lolly monologue. I'm of the opinion of, that is Eitri at her absolute rawest and just bestest, for lack of a better term. This is the swan song that Eitri deserves. And, like, I know I'm always of the opinion of, like, certain things hampering down characters, stopping them from getting into S tier, with the exception of Helbindi. Like, Eitri is the second exception to that, because the way they recovered her character was so insane and seemingly unachievable that the fact it happened should be a miracle from Naga herself. Then she gets surprise promoted to playable, and a bunch of personal yada yada business that I can't go into here. It's just, I'm gonna say it. Freya has competition.
Oh boy, and that's quite something coming from you. And then, how does this tie into you, Serene?
You like? Is it another case of you're convinced me to like him, so therefore I like him?
Yeah, I managed to convince Serene like many times before to like Eitri, but the way I managed to do it was something else.
I didn't like hate her or anything. I just thought she was interesting at first.
Interesting maneuver.
But yeah, you can tell them, I guess, sweetie, if you really want me to. If you really
how I managed to sway your opinion. I'm not even actually going to say fully how I did it. Rather, it's a demonstration.
Oh no.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Oh boy.
Don't do this to me, Yuri.
Domestic abuse on camera, let's go.
No.
If you turn your attention to the chat.
I'm looking respectfully at the chat.
Yearlinger make a fool of himself for the world to see. This will be fun. No. Stop. Fuck.
Oh dear.
I love you so much.
Okay,
Yes.
so I will say Eitri, for me, is... I initially didn't like her, I didn't feel any one way about her. And then the kind of reveal of her being the big villain, like I wasn't sure if I should have expected it or not. I was just like, kind of like, oh, you know, that happened, I guess. It's like, okay, I guess she had kind of an evil design. And then I didn't like her that much because she just felt like, you know, one of those evil scientist tropes. It's not done well. Like, I think Colress from Pokemon is an example of a mad scientist trope done well. But I didn't think Eitri had that same sort of potential and that same execution. And then her ending came around, and I was like, well, I mean, I guess they tried to give her a little bit more backstory and redeem her, but it just felt very sudden and rushed. And I didn't really...
What even is her ending?
Her ending is she dies, but she gives a lot of exposition about why she was doing what she was doing. She wanted to serve the king who died long ago. She's like this sage who's lived for thousands of years, yada yada. So they shoveled in a bunch of stuff, and it was an attempt was made, but it wasn't enough to make me like her. It was kind of like an Otr situation for me, where they tried to give her backstory. Yes,
they tried, they failed, and then Eitri gets Thanos.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And while I thought the book ending thing where she talks is kind of cool, I guess it still was enough to significantly change my opinion of her. So I would put her in, like, if I had to, I'd put her in like low C maybe. If I maybe high D, somewhere like that.
For my stance, I'd say Eitri gets high A/S because I like her a lot.
Okay. So then I will give my 2 cents on Eitri, I suppose. Actually, ironically, I do have to give her some credit for her mad scientist aspect. Because I think the power she has to actually, to some extent, summon quote-unquote heroes is pretty laudable. And actually the fact that she was the one to summon Fáfnir to the realm of Niðavellir in the first place, that's actually a really interesting way to tie the two together. And I guess as far as that... Huh?
Why is DT the only woman?
That's a coincidence, I swear.
Fates.
That's a coincidence. This was a collective effort, Rawr. This wasn't my doing. But yeah, my ranking of Eitri would therefore also be in C tier, but a bit higher than Interesting's rating. I think I'd put Eitri like around probably a high C, maybe towards mid C. So I guess if we tally all our ratings up...
I have no democracy.
Oh yes, actually you do have democracy, Rawr. But do you have any opinions on Eitri yourself?
From like half the fucking book I know, I think she's like D tier or F tier.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you're lacking, I guess, valuable insight about the latter half of the book.
Here's the thing. I just hate science. I just hate like scientific
You just hate science. Okay, clear.
Like
clear.
Thanos is just bugging. Like scientific characters like that. I
guess that's one way to go about it, but then
also,
still...
she looks like she's 5.
Yes, that's true.
That's an issue.
Yes. I think tallying everyone's rankings up, so we have Rawr D tier, I would say high C tier, Interesting would say low C tier, or high D, but let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Serene is saying A tier, and Year is also...
F tier. Also, Serene did say A or even F tier.
Okay, fair enough. Then let's say she said high A tier for convenience. So telling all that up, I guess she'd end up around somewhere like mid B, probably high B.
And she'd be skewed towards the upper half.
Yes, most likely.
All things considered, probably like where? Maybe like beneath Plumeria?
I would be okay with that placement, actually.
Alright, so I think we can all agree that Múspell should at least get A or S tier, thank you very much.
Going straight into it, I like
Why?
that. I mean,
Yes.
Why would this be? Because you think he's hot? Haha.
literally.
Yes.
Well, elaborate.
Like,
Don't just say he's hot and just call it a day.
well, I wasn't. I mean, like, he's crazy and he calls people his dog and he's, I don't know. I just like a guy based on looks most of the time. Personality also matters, but
Not
what
as
does he
much,
really
not really.
have?
He has nothing when it comes to personality.
What?
Exactly.
What? He has some personality.
He has as much personality as Nifl does. I'll give him that.
Ah, true.
Actually, a little less, but yeah.
Well, I suppose, but that's because Múspell doesn't have someone like Virgil to I guess sob over.
Yes, he doesn't have that sort of counterbalance that Nifl has, an extra have an ever so slight glimmer of character.
He doesn't have the third party who makes her backstory more tragic, or his backstory, I guess, in this case.
Yes, or gives him
Yeah.
like a counteract, like a force that makes him like think, like this is, I have a conflict, I have an internal conflict.
Yeah,
Which
there's just...
which Nifl's isn't like amazingly done, but it does have something. So
I guess one thing I should admit to is that he doesn't have any context to his actions, He just seems... It's just like his violence stems from nothing, just from a desire to be
pretty
bad,
much.
to be an
The
antagonist.
desire to oppose Nifl, and Nifl is bad.
Nothing
And
wrong with
So that's
that.
one thing that could be said against him. No,
I think it
I-
probably has to do with his philosophy of fighting for a world that is constantly changing.
well, that's part of it. Although
Yes.
unfortunately, it's not mentioned very much. Kind of like how
Yeah.
Nifl's motivations aren't. Well, they're kind of a motivation for revenge, but it's not. Neither of them have like the most in-depth motivations, alas.
No, because they were kind of quickly introduced, right? So to kind of
Yes.
refer back to the story of Book 2
Very
for
sad.
whatever reason. I still don't really know why they kind of reverted to Book 2 when the entire story isn't even relevant for Book 6.
Yeah, it's very random, but then they went back to book 1 for book
Yeah.
6. So
So
Who's that?
in the larger scheme, I suppose it's more of a prelude to what's still going to happen. They're kind of setting up the existence of the deities just to, I guess, introduce future events. That's my best guess at the moment.
And also starting to hit the note that was hinted at with the fucking Ashen Wolf Sporting Bond event.
Yes? What was that again?
Basically, the Ashen Wolves went into the big Askren library to
Yes.
look for some books, and they found a particular book that basically hinted at Ragnarok.
Oh yeah, right.
yeah,
And
And
Loki just
also
got
unambiguously confirmed that Loki has fully infiltrated Asker.
Mm-hmm.
So for anyone who remembered that event, beyond just Múspell being the main antagonist, it was we all saw his death coming.
I suppose it was still a bummer because
Yeah.
why does he immediately have to die? There's
Well,
so
they
little
both,
build
they
up.
both immediately die.
But
They both kind of die. Well, I guess Nifl had more build up. Yeah.
there's just kind of no build up, and Múspell just kind of gets shat on by the prophecy, and then he disappears.
And then Nifl's like, okay, I'll
I'll head out as
See ya.
well. Yeah, see ya.
It's fossil fighters, Phrygia and Igno. Can't have one without the other.
Very clever
Oh.
reference here. Absolutely
Very
amazing.
good.
Igno,
Well,
plagiarizing themselves, how dare they?
I wish I got this
yes.
reference. I really do.
I
If
don't.
only I
You
I
can
don't-
just look up images of them on Google and put them in the video and be like, oh look, he's so funny. Ain't he clever?
But yeah, back to Múspell as a character, I guess, as an OC. any particular thoughts, any particular rankings you guys want to throw out there?
I already threw in mine.
I mean, he's certainly, again, villainous, enjoyable for the deal, and somehow managed to have a small personal impact on me. I would put Múspell in B tier.
Alright, clear.
I would put Múspell in probably like low C tier. I think he's okay.
Yeah.
For an OC at least.
OC,
pretty much pretty much my rushed monologue from before, from what I said about Múspell is how I feel about him. I don't remember exactly what I said.
I can play it here actually. That's the power of editing.
I do think Múspell's personality is more, I guess, in your face and kind of fun for some people. I don't find it particular. It's not quite my style, just personally.
Which is fair.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't have It doesn't have the flair that I kind of like with the characters who are like cruel and malicious.
Ironically,
it's definitely worth noting at least that he makes some sort of an impact in the Ice and Flame Tempest trials, but it's not. I don't know. It doesn't feel like they fleshed out Nifl or Múspell as much as they could have. So.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Because again, this event was kind of just shoehorned in. Is that a good term to use?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
It was just introduced to wrap up the loose end that was Fjorm dying, but not really dying.
Yeah, like being terminally ill but never dying, actually. Well, as for me, now I'm really biased, right? I'm really biased towards Múspell. Which should not be surprising by this point.
I'm also biased.
The loud, obnoxious, goofy characters are the ones that...
Well, I wouldn't call them obnoxious. I'd call them...
in certain cases...
that's purely subjective, you know, but that's of course what the tier list is all about. No, but I think, for one, his design is just really clean. It was exactly what I wanted of a counterpart to Nifl, so I think in that regard, the designers did an amazing job. Now, his voice kind of threw me off back in the day, and it still kind of does. I don't really think it fits him. I would have liked if he had a deeper voice, just to supplement his, I guess, his intimidating appearance. But what can you do, right? I still think it's a pretty decent performance. But yeah, in summary, I just really love him. I just have a bias. I don't really have any specific reason for liking him other than his design. Because again, there really isn't much to Múspell, given he was shoehorned in together with Nifl. But I can say that in my heart, he's my favorite FEH OC, so I will rally for him going in S tier. But I know that's never going to be achieved.
I mean, I also said S tier or A tier.
Oh boy. This is going to be really skewed, I feel.
The design Andes, the aesthetics Andes, I know.
The aesthetics Andes strike again. But like, what else do you go off in this case? There isn't anything else to go off, really.
Well, there's some FEH OCs have, like, glimmers of things to go off.
Oh yeah, I like how he said Sickum. That was a classic moment.
Squeal, squeal, squeal!
Sickum dog! Sickum! To sum up, what was it? 2 times S, 1 time low C?
What did Yuri say for his? I don't remember.
B tier.
B tier.
Yeah.
Oh, B tier?
So I suppose averaging out, it would be, I guess, low A
or
high B.
Like high B or low A, I guess.
Either one.
Still feels weird to rate him above Nótt, but that's how it's going to be. So
that's how it's going to be, yes. Because
you can thank
we are
Rawr for that one.
Múspell above Yearlinger.
I mean, hierarchically, he does stand above Yearlinger.
Well, yeah, that's the funny thing.
See, I'm not opposed to putting him here, but I'm biased. So what do you guys think?
We'll put the totally Cavalier Dragon in A tier.
Perfect.
Bottom of it.
That's what I like to hear.
That works.
Alright, and then we have one character left, the direct counterpart to Múspell, Nifl.
I think Yuri really likes Nifl.
Yeah, in case a very particular reaction didn't give it away, I really like Nifl.
Wait, what certain reaction?
The loudest gasp ever recorded.
Oh, true!
Oh, yeah!
Absolute classic.
What was that classic. I don't remember. Play the clip of that gasp, because I don't remember what video it was from.
I don't get like really depressed if my summoning luck goes poorly. Like I'm kind of used to that. So,
dude, I used to get so upset about bad summoning sessions. Actually, funny in retrospect.
Such a huge audible gasp. Yeah, I will have to fully admit though, like, as much as I can talk about like Nifl's character and like her hidden depths of how like she claims to be very emotionless, but you can just tell she's like seething with rage under the surface. A lot of my interest in Nifl basically boils down to the female core in defense.
She's hot, and her design is something you like.
Yeah, like, at least unlike Loki, Nifl has some actual character to back it up.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
Loki has... I would
see
argue Loki has a semblance of character. I mean, it's not a huge one, but it exists.
Yeah, like, Loki isn't deep.
Well, she's not deep.
Definitely
I mean,
not,
the only
no.
her cleavage is very deep, but other than that...
Oh boy.
I
I
mean,
couldn't resist
Nifl
that.
isn't exactly lacking either.
I suppose
well,
not.
compared to Loki, that's being a bit generous. But she's not lack. Okay, anyway.
I think the best thing Nifl has going for her is how she plays with the Ice Queen trope. Because basically, Nifl's entire story is that the way she is now isn't who she once was. Like, when she started life, yeah, she is how she is. But then Evergol showed up and defrosted Ice Queen, and then Evergol dies, and we rarely ever see a defrosted Ice Queen freeze over again.
I see.
Also, how did you pronounce that name?
Evergol?
Evergol.
Is that how
Nifl
it's pronounced?
herself says it. It's her death quote.
I
guess
thought
it
it was Fagel, but...
I would pronounce the H, but that's just me, I guess. And Serene?
I like her. She's fine.
She's fine. Ah, yes. Eloquently stated, as per usual.
I like her. I don't hate her. She's not. I used to really like her because Yuri likes her. That means I have to like her, or else I will
Oops,
die.
I did it again.
There it is. There it is again.
I would probably put her mid B, like low B. What?
Oh.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
How tragic.
Someone did not
Technical-
agree with her B tier placement.
No, my dad is calling me downstairs. I don't know what for though.
For placing
Your
Nifl in
father
B
wishes
tier.
to have a word
Yeah,
with
that's-
you about her doing his Nifl.
Good placement.
I would put her mid B, high C. That's my final answer. Thank you very much.
Clear, noted.
I actually, ironically, or not ironically, but just interestingly, I agree with Serene's average placement. I would put her in low B myself, because I think she has something going for her, but it wasn't executed to its fullest, I think. And that's the case for a lot of the characters in, like, mid and low B, so... Well, I like a lot of the high B characters, so...
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they were actually done decently in some cases. Like, Yearlinger and Nótt, I think were done, well, for Fae, pretty well. And your apologies for offending your Fae-only sensibilities, but that is just... My opinion is that Fae struggles with storytelling and character writing, so...
Back onto the subject of Nifl,
Yes.
if Fates is going to be biased for Múspell, I have to balance it out by being biased for Nifl. I would have her in high A tier.
I was about to say you definitely should rally for Nifl because I'm going to heavily counteract that bias.
What is that heavy counteracting going to look
No,
like?
I'm not going to put her in E tier. I'm not going to do that. I want to just offer like one point that I think it's not related to her character per se, right? But her art is just so strange to me. Just the composition of her art.
Yes.
Like in her regular portrait, like fine, sure, she's standing up. Nothing weird about that. But then when she attacks, she's on her knees. And then as well in her special art, and then in her damaged art, she's suddenly like she's just I don't know what she's doing. She's throwing her legs up.
Are we almost done? Because I do have to eat.
We are almost done, yes.
Yes, we are
My
almost
parents,
done.
my parents brought chicken.
Chicken is extremely based.
So I'm just going to offer my final 2 cents on Nifl, and then we're going to place her. So for one, I think her art heavily turned me off because there was no logic whatsoever in her poses. But that's one thing, right? Art is not connected to her character. As far as her character is concerned, I personally can find no enjoyment in cold characters like Nifl. And yes, I suppose that is her entire point, but I just don't think it's fun to have a distant, kind of snarky, cold character without emotions.
I wouldn't say Nifl is Little Miss Snarker, but continue.
She has her snarky moments, though.
I would contest that.
She's
just
blunt.
the way she acts towards Fjorm specifically. She's kind of cutting her off when she's trying to express emotions.
Yeah, it's rude. Cutting off best girl, isn't that right, Fates?
Oh god! Now I'm being reminded of the fucking Faye Amino Cold War that happened over Nifl.
Oh no, not that. No, don't do it.
No.
Please don't mention that. We don't need to talk about that.
That was a tragedy.
I'm not gonna go into any detail about it. Just know it was a thing that happened.
I now fully remember. Oh boy, that was an event. About Nifl, I am not very fond of her, obviously. And in all honesty, I wouldn't place her much higher than high D tier. And that's probably,
I thought you were going to go like
pushing it.
mid or low D tier. You could put her in mid D tier if you want.
Like personally, if none of you gave your opinions and this was just my tier list, I would place her directly below Reginn, I think.
Below Reginn. Oh, okay, that's not even that bad. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm being gracious. I'm just being averaging that out. High D from me. Then there's B from interesting, if I recall.
Or actually, I'm thinking about it a little more. I'm reviewing what she said in her stuff in my head. I'm leaning more towards high C right now.
All right, high C for interesting. And then there's high A for year, if I recall.
High A, but definitely not above Freya.
Oh, okay, so that'd be
Gotcha.
like mid A.
Okay. Well, technically that would be mid A, yes, but just because there's few characters
Not
in A
enough.
tier.
Yeah.
And then Serene, you also said A or high B-ish?
I said high B, mid B.
Then I do recall correctly.
I low rolled for A, but I kind of take that back. I still think B would be fine.
Okay, so we averages out to like
high
bottom
C,
of B,
low B,
right?
I think.
Yeah,
Bottom of
like,
B, probably.
Yeah, I think that would be about right.
I think that should be correct, at least averaging out our opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess with that, we've reached the end of the tier list, unless there are any final objections. Any noteworthy characters you want to have another look at?
Look, I know we more or less agreed to not talk about any of the older characters, but should we not reconsider Fjorm's placement in E tier?
Should we though? Should we?
Considering she just had an entire story about her that addressed one of the biggest complaints about her, like, at the absolute least, like, I would just say put her above Mirabilis. If she's going to stay in E tier forever, at least have her be above Mirabilis now.
I would agree with that much. I mean, I personally would put, now knowing what we know about Fjorm, I would put her in, like, mid D tier instead of, like, E tier, but...
I'd put her in mid C. I kind of like her.
I still find Fjorm very boring and bland, but I at least acknowledge that she's gone through
But I also
bit.
don't mind if she goes into D tier or something like that.
Alright, I hear you. So at least I'm off Mirabilis. Right, I'm okay, sure, I'm willing to accommodate
we'll
that.
move her up one, okay.
But
what
I guess
about
in that mind, in that spirit, we should also place her above Freyr. Because
Yes,
Freya just realistically doesn't do anything and dies.
No, he's just a dead guy, yeah.
Alright,
So are we still going to keep her below Gunthra?
Are we?
I mean,
That's a good question.
Gunthra has MILF points, though, so we can keep her below Gunthra, that's fine.
Let's just push her up to D tier. Just for the sake of her entire new character arc, I guess.
Oh boy, yes, that's fair. That's
And
fine.
debuting the Ascendant alt.
Yeah, which are literally just going to be more OCs. And Lords, probably.
Yes, most likely, yeah.
I guess this is our definitive
but-
tier list then. Look at it.
Oh,
It's beautiful.
joy.
It's absolutely beautiful, totally objective, and correct.
Can I just have a closing? Can we all have like closing thoughts about this thing?
Closing thoughts, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Who would like to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just absolute silence. Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
Serene, you're the one who suggested it. You say something first.
Okay, well, for my closing thoughts, this was fun. I definitely enjoyed it. I know I didn't really say too much besides like having some strong opinions about certain people, the hot ones specifically, but hey,
Yes,
whatever. And another closing thought is that I would love to see what happens in the future, and hopefully the next coming book, especially this one, with Letizia, Veronica, that stuff, will maybe change my opinion about Veronica. Or even Bruno, who knows.
Maybe we'll have to revisit her in the future.
Final thing. I still can't believe Hellbindy's the only one who ended up in S tier.
Still unanimously best OC, which is not saying much in terms of Fate writing.
Yeah.
I guess it's an honor in itself.
I mean, when you have to factor in for more than one person, Hellbindy, I guess, is S tier, sure.
Honestly, him even making it to S tier when we all have to pitch him is kind of a miracle.
Let's see, my closing thoughts. It was enjoyable, while this would look drastically different from a tier list that I'd create. Obviously, that's, what happens with all collaborative tier lists. Yep. It's not, you can't ever get, one that would look very similar to yours, unless, if you're doing it with, one person with similar tastes, maybe, but, all of us have very different thoughts on very different characters, so it's to be expected. And, it was interesting and fun, even though we did most of them, a long time ago. I remember having fun with that when it happened. And, it's going to be interesting to review further characters. And there might be, with the new Ascended feature, I would be very surprised if they don't milk more OCs for that. So there might be some rejiggering of placements in the future, which would be interesting. I'm curious to see if, Veronica or Bruno or Air or, Leafworth or Seer will ever get... I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll get more development regardless, but if they get more, screen time as, Ascendant or, Tempest Trials and stuff like that, so that could make things interesting. I wonder, it would actually be interesting to see if, our opinions of them lessen, because of any of that. That'd be funny. They get more screen time only to look worse.
Maybe if they shoehorn in another Tempest Trials series.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Probably the only possibility of them.
Probably unlikely, probably considering that they don't usually add a bunch of annoying or undesirable traits retroactively to characters. But yeah, regardless, it should be interesting, and tier lists are fun, so it's going to be probably pretty fun to revisit it. And yeah, that's about all I have to say.
In terms of my closing thoughts, being a Fae-only Fire Emblem fan, taking part in this whole tier list thing with a bunch of other players who have all actually played mainline games and seeing how that influenced everything, it was considerably eye-opening, I suppose, especially regarding Fjorm, because as far as I knew, Fjorm was the second most liked deuteragonist right behind Air, especially given how everyone reacted to her bridal alt.
Yeah, well...
So I was fairly surprised to see a lot of Fjorm hate thrown around.
I don't hate her. I'm being serious. I do not hate her.
I do hate her.
I don't absolutely hate her, but I have a certain degree of dislike for her, you could say.
Ultimately, I think it should be clarified that, since Heroes is really the only game I've played, I don't, truly hate anyone from this game, not even Mirabilis. It's still good to be reminded of the many pitfalls of Heroes' writing, and also to be the one to highlight a few of the good moments in its writing.
Yes, it is interesting to have that counterbalance of someone who will take the time to delve into Heroes' writing, which is a very rare quality nowadays, because most people have just given up on that.
Too true. Too true.
I mean that unironically. It's just...
I do have one final message to add to the video. It's this.
A message to all 5 people who are still watching.
My final message. Save the world. Goodbye.
This is my final message. I typed it in Discord.
I literally cannot
That's
see.
not very helpful for the people in the video.
We all have differing opinions, but we can all agree to disagree, my friends.
Differing? Did you mean differing?
Yes. How the frick do you spell differing?
With an I, not an E, and 2 F's.
I thought it was E.
Here, sometimes I pity you.
What do you mean?
My closing thoughts on the matter. Now, let me just start off with saying, sure, I had some questionable takes in this tier list.
Yes, we all did.
Slightly.
I think. In a way, we all did.
Except for Rawr. Rawr's takes were based.
Naturally. But in a way, we all did, like Serene said. And I think having done this tier list was a real eye-opener. conversely to Year's experiences with talking to, players who've played mainline games and read to some extent the hero's story, I thought it was really just enlightening to hear of someone who so intently read the story of Faye, who actually took the time to observe the intricacies in the writing. Yeah, I just think that was a great experience, honestly, and I had a really fun time composing this tier list, kind of pushing my agenda a little bit.
The Fates agenda.
Yeah, you did it. You got Múspell in A tier. You happy?
Hey,
Yay.
Serene also picked S tier. It's not just my fault.
I also.
Well, if you
voted
rated him
for
any
S tier.
lower, he would have gone down to B. So.
That's true, actually. But that's what they call strategy, my friend. But, on that note, I guess, if anyone's still watching at this point, thank you very much. And yeah, we'll see you all next time.